So today on the Hustle and Flowchart podcast, this is our first ever Hustle and Flowchart live over Discord, and we're going to be doing some behind the scenes. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff that we're paying attention to right now in the blockchain gaming space. We're going to hopefully be taking questions and chatting with the audience a little bit, and it's going to be a fun show. So let's go ahead and kick this bad boy off.
This is an intro. Intro.
Hustle and Flowchart with your boy, my boy, Matt Wolf and Joe Fier. Hey!
Oh, that was so good. This is crazy, man. This is the first time we're doing this, so most of y'all are probably listening to this recorded, but Matt and I are doing this live for the first time in our Discord for Hard Fork Gaming. And this is cool. I'm looking at Matt on video. I don't know if we're releasing the video, but like this is tech wizardry right here. And we got to give a big shout out to Buffalo Sauce down the hall, right, Matt?
Buffalo Sauce is down the hall. Are we calling it? Is that his new nickname? Is Buffalo Sauce?
I don't know. You called him that earlier. Those are your words, not mine. So yeah, this episode we're chatting about. We're gonna give you a lot of the BTS behind the scenes of what we're doing. And like I said, we're recording this differently. We're doing it live. We actually have people in the audience right now listening to us. And eventually, hopefully, take this thing to Twitter as well. That's another way to get a wider audience and experiment, take this tech even further. But on this episode, we're going to really dive into the cool stuff we've been doing and the people in our community that we've been meeting and working with. Big shout outs to a handful of folks. We have a whole list in front of us. And then, we'll just take this wherever. We got some alpha. We're always doing all these interesting chats with people and streams. So anything we can do to share with you, you're going to get from us on these podcasts. And Matt, on the release schedule, do you want to shout out anything there? Is that going to change with this new recording format?
Yeah, we're still kind of figuring things out. We hard forked our business back in November when we decided to go all in on blockchain gaming. And we kind of pivoted the podcast a little bit and started doing more interviews in the blockchain space and Web3 space. And now we recently made the decision, you know what? We've done that. We've been there. That show was fun. Let's hard fork the show again. Let's do another pivot. And we decided let's start going live. Let's record these things live. Let's interact with people. The old way kind of felt a little too pedestal-y. We get up and talk about stuff and people just got to listen to us. It was a very sort of one-way means of communication, and we want to build this community. We want to engage with the audience. We want to talk to you. We don't want this to be the Matt and Joe show. We want this to be the Hard Fork community show, the Hustle and Flowchart Hard Fork community show, where we all hang out and chat together. So we hard forked this, and now every Tuesday we're going to record them live, and then ideally I'm going to get the recordings out on Wednesdays. We're still kind of building out the system, so it could be there could be some hiccups that might come out Thursday this week in the recording. I'm not sure, but we're gonna get it all figured out and get these systems dialed in. And it's all a big test run, and we're seeing where we can take it here. We're seeing how we can take this show bigger than we've taken it in the past, and interact on a new level that we've never been able to interact, and just do some really cool stuff with the show. So
heck yeah,
it's
getting fun, man.
Yeah.
Well, let me. I'll give a couple shout outs to the key things before we get into the heart of what we're chatting about today. Is first of all, you got to get on the Alpha Club list. And go make sure that you're joined. It's an email list. Plus, you're getting access to a cool community and opportunities to get hooked up with all sorts of cool swag, digital swag, NFTs, and giveaways, and also breaking news that you're going to get it before we're able to even get it out in content form. So you can take advantage of getting more of these airdrops and all this other cool stuff happening in Web3. Make sure to go to hardfork.gg/alpha, and that will basically take you to a page. Plug in all your details. The more you give us, the more you're going to potentially get from us, because that's the whole thing, is we want to give back to the community. It's very clear to us that this is a community-driven time, especially in Web3 with the bear market. And I think the right people that want to be involved right now in this space are like the cream's rising to the top. And it's been really cool. We'll talk about the community and some folks that we've met recently. And it's through this. So join at hardfork.gg/alpha. And Matt, I think our crazy little experiment of just sharing everything and getting everyone involved is working, and it's been so damn exciting. And that's the place to go. So that's where we're hooking up. So
and a little bit more actually about the Hard Fork Alpha Club. Now, if you're a member of that Alpha Club, that's where you can actually win free NFTs from us. If you come join us on our live streams, join us on some of these live shows, we're going to be giving away free NFTs and making it worth your while to come hang out with us. And only Alpha Club members are eligible. So make sure that you do sign up to be an Alpha Club member, because that's how you get those competitions. If you're in our Discord, there's special rooms, the Alpha Club room, where we're going to chat with people on our show and stuff. You've got to be a member to get access to that room as well. We're also building out some cool tools in the blockchain gaming space, where we're building out resources where you can hunt down the exact game you're looking for, and build out we're going to do some like reviews where the community can review games and the best will rise to the top. But we're doing some really cool stuff, but you got to be an Alpha Club member to get that. So hardfork.gg/alpha will get you there, and lots and lots and lots of perks. So make sure you are a member of that.
Yeah, and of course, follow us on the socials because we're putting content out everywhere. And if this is your first time actually listening to the podcast, if you're in the audience, watch. I see there's a whole bunch of y'all in the Discord, and then eventually in social, if you're seeing this, go find Hustle and Flowchart podcast. It's on all the different podcast platforms, and go subscribe, go follow along because we've put out so much content here in this longer form where we might be diving in deeper into issues or things and then having people on that we actually could chat with. And we'll probably mix in interviews here still, depending on the person. But yeah, like you were saying, Matt, this show is going to be a lot more BTS behind the scenes of what we're doing at Hard Fork, some alpha and just cool stuff with the community. Just kind of be transparent with stuff. Let's give a couple shout outs too, because without them, we would not be doing nearly as much right now. Is a couple partners that have been supporting us almost since day one. Is Animoca Brands have been rock stars in seeing our vision with Hard Fork Gaming. So I want to shout them out because they're doing a lot, not only in venture capital VC. So if you're not aware of Animoca and you're kind of newer to the Web3 space or just don't really understand what they're doing, go check out like their announcement boards on their website. At Animoca Brands, they're just doing cool stuff all the time, and they share a lot of the vision. Like Yatsu over there is always sharing his ideas of the open metaverse and how assets and economies are going to work. So it's very interesting to have them on as folks that actually can see what we're doing at Hard Fork and at Hustle and Flowchart. And they're releasing so many games too. We're always covering those on LFG Live. And then of course, Blockchain Space. I want to shout them out too, because we're doing even a weekly show with them called Blockchain Conversations that is going to be released on both of our YouTube channels. So definitely go follow both of ours to get those. And they're like chats with founders and people essentially building in this space, but who have the inside scoop of what's happening in the gaming and metaverse space. So you actually maybe don't get more of the hype, but you get more of the real talk and where this place is going. So if you feel like you want to get tapped in, definitely follow Blockchain Space because they are just epic and they have all the data and tools that connect this stuff. But we're also bringing in cool interviews on their channel. So you'll see us over there. That is all the call to actions I have, Matt, for now.
Yeah, well, here's one that's a semi call to action, I guess. Yeah. That we do have another tier of our community, right? We mentioned the Alpha Club. All you got to do to get on that is the hardfork.gg/alpha. If you go there, you can join the Alpha Club. But then the tier above that is our Alpha Scouts. And our Alpha Scouts are the people that are out there, hunting down the information that we're sharing on shows like LFG Live and Hustle and Flowchart and the upcoming Hard Fork Radio show, which kicks off this Thursday at noon on this channel right here that you're listening into, also known as the Hard Fork Gaming Stage in Discord. So we're kicking off that show this Thursday as well. But the Alpha Scouts are the people that drum up all that good, juicy alpha, and you get shout outs and you got your first in line for any sort of NFTs and any sort of special deals that we get with companies down the line. We're going to be hooking up Alpha Scouts first as a big thank you for giving us that sweet alpha that we're always looking for.
Yes, I love the Alpha Scout shout out, man. And maybe now's the time. Maybe let's start talking about the community and some of the folks we've been chatting with this week and kind of bounce around the flow here, Matt, a little bit. But yeah, let's start off with the main shout out. And he's on this call, or I think he bounced around. He's in Discord somewhere right now, but it's Jake from Steak Farm. And that's steak, not state. But I don't think he wears khakis. And I'm sure we've had that joke so many times now. But he's an awesome dude. And he's been listening to the podcast, I think, for over a year, well over a year or more. And an awesome guy, and has just kind of fell into Web3 around the same time we did this whole big pivot. But he was one of the guys that kind of rose to the top and asked to work with us and kind of came through the Alpha Scout path and this whole thing that we've been experimenting with and been having a bunch of chats. And that's where you're seeing him in Discord all the time. So shout out to Jake, because he's doing way more than community manager. I'd say he's doing, there's going to be a lot that Jake's involved in. And this is just one of the ways we've been shouting out just cool opportunities in Web3. There's so many ways to get involved right now with projects that you believe in. And that's where it's exciting to see people like Jake start to, raise your hand and get involved and see how that actually moves everything up.
Oh yeah, Jake's a rock star, man. Him and I have already been working through like building out some new systems to make sure that, one of the things that we've been doing on our LFG Lives is we do a lot of these giveaways, right? And one of the things that's hard to keep up with is figuring out, all right, who just won all of these? We have to go review the video and make sure that all the people that won stuff get the stuff. And then we got to track down the wallets for everybody. And, just working with Jake, we've already sort of built out systems just to make that easier and faster. So Jake's been an absolute rock star, just kind of already making our lives easier. And he's the one that you're seeing in the community all the time. And yeah, it's been great working with him.
Dude, it's cool. It's awesome because community is everything in everywhere. I mean, it's always been about people, but and especially with Web3, in these times where it's a building focused time. It's not really as much investment focused, with the charts and price, how things are these days. But it's all good because there's a lot of stuff to do and build and ways to get involved. So Jake, shout out to you, dude. And we're starting to chat all the time now. And Crypto Kinder's another one we had a chat with yesterday. And that was rad because he's another name that we've been seeing floating around in our Discord. I think he was in our Hustle and Flowchart Discord. Got a shout out to Nick Peterson and the whole Wolf Den because there's a lot of crossover there. We have a lot of friends over there, and Nick's been on the show a couple times. Brilliant guy and great community too. So it's just cool to see like all this support. And Crypto Kinder, it's another guy. And it's cool when people see the vision and want to get involved, even if they're super busy doing everything else in their life, being a professional, but also like having kids, family, pursuing education. And like everybody's super busy right now, but there's still people that raise their hand and want to get involved.
Yeah.
I think it's super fun right now, and I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah,
we'll see.
No, it's getting real exciting. Just looking in the room here too, I see Spike, somebody that we're having a call with, I believe later this week. Got to do some collabs with you most likely. Hash Rhymes is in the house right now.
What up?
Hash Rhymes over at Lad City is the OG Alpha Scout. Actually, I think Hash Rhymes is the one that gave us the inspiration to create the Alpha Scout role because Hash Rhymes is the head Alpha Scout over at Lad City right now.
That's pretty rad. Yeah, Hash Rhymes. I don't know if you realize, but we modeled a lot. Oh, we got a big heart in the chat just now. Right on. Well, just know we have modeled a lot through your brilliance and magic. So this is just cool to get the community, and this was like an unannounced live thing that we're doing, and the fact that we have 11 plus. I don't know what's on Twitter, but people keep they're bouncing.
Maybe they listened to last week's Hustle and Flowchart where we announced we were going to do it, but I don't know. I feel like this is a different crew here on the live show.
Well, yeah, man. So we chatted about the community. Like we're doing a lot, and Matt, you're usually the one that kind of chats about in our LFG live. You explain what the community's all about and all that.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you want to break down anything else about what we're doing in terms of the model and how we're getting community rallied up. Maybe talk about some of the tech that we're building.
Yeah,
for the podcast peeps.
Yeah, well, with Hustle and Flowchart, the direction we're taking Hustle and Flowchart and sort of what we kind of decided is we've got Blockchain Conversations, which is an interview show that we're going to be doing weekly. And it's going to be us talking. It's going to either be me and Joe, or Joe and Buffalo, or me and Buffalo, or maybe even just one of us interviewing other guests in the blockchain space that are helping build this blockchain gaming world. And that seemed kind of redundant with the types of interviews we were doing with Hustle and Flowchart. So we decided with Hustle and Flowchart, let's kind of pivot this a little bit. And we know we have a large marketing audience. A lot of the people that follow us and listen to the audio version of this show, they follow us because they love the digital marketing, they love the tactics, they love the growth strategies. That's kind of what we originally built our Hustle and Flowchart brand on, is that kind of stuff. So we figured, why don't we kind of pivot Hustle and Flowchart? Hard fork Hustle and Flowchart is probably a better way to say it. Why don't we hard fork Hustle and Flowchart into a show where we share the behind the scenes of what we're doing at Hard Fork Gaming? How we're building the business, how we're doing the streaming, what games we're playing, who we're talking to, the deals we're making, how we're growing the audience, how we're growing the community, and just really let everybody in behind the scenes. Just peel back the curtains and just show this is how Hard Fork's being built, because we know the marketing audience that's followed us for a long time would love to see that. They would love to see, how is marketing evolving? How is marketing in Web 3 going to be different from marketing in Web 2? And so I feel like that's a lot of what we're going to cover on Hustle and Flowchart going forward, is here's how we're building a Web 3 community. Here's how we're incentivizing and helping other people earn in a Web 3 world. Here's how we're earning money in a Web 3 world, right? We want to share all that behind the scenes. And then the other thing that we also did a lot of with Hustle and Flowchart is kind of have some random epic rants from time to time where we would just talk about, like, here's why the metaverse is big. Here's why we really want to get into this token. Here's why you should be paying attention to this game. Here's why you should be paying attention to these companies. And we would have those kind of rants where we'd get a little philosophical and explain, why you should be paying attention to stuff. So we want to do that on Hustle and Flowchart as well. But then we wanted to add in another element that is like the most Web3 element you could possibly add to a podcast, which is get the community involved. Have our chat window open while we're recording our Hustle and Flowcharts. See what you guys have to say. Comment on what you're saying. Bring up points that you guys are making. Let you make points on the show, and we'll read them or bring you on stage and chat with you about them. And so that's where we see Hustle and Flowchart evolving and hard forking into this live, interactive, behind the scenes show where we're showing you what to pay attention to and how we're doing what we do, but then also chatting with you. So that's really where we're taking this show. I totally forgot your original question, but that was my answer to it.
That was a great answer, Matt. You described exactly what the question kind of was. It was just, what are we doing at a higher level around the community? So everything is we're realizing, like you said, community, and being transparent. I think the more transparent we are in this context with all this new technology, these new games, like this is a space that I think trust is a big thing. That there's a lot of undoxed or anonymous type people that I don't know. Can you trust them? Can you not? A lot of amazing people, but at the same time, it's like you got to understand a little bit more about these projects, about the technology themselves or itself, and just the speed of everything is going fast. And the more that we can share from what we're getting through the conversations, because we're privy to a ton of information, because we have so many meetings with just interesting people, and the space is so small that we've already been able to connect with, I feel like the some of the biggest players in the space, and it's been so fun to do that and deep dive into the space that we want to share that with everyone in as many ways possible with all the content. We'll break down actually how we're recording content and why we want to distribute it the way we are, like the systems, because like this could help everybody in the Web3 space. Like if a project's listening to us right now in our community or wherever, like benefit from marketing, because we're marketing and content guys originally. Got Buffalo over here who's high production all the way through and marketing background. So it's like, we want to share this with as many people because the collaborations are going to lift us out of this bear and beyond.
Yeah. Well,
Matt, what you got?
Anybody who's been listening to us for a while now has knew we were making this transition. You kind of heard the progression of us shifting into this kind of digital marketing to creator economy, and then eventually into like Web3 / creator economy. Right. And what I believe has allowed us to kind of, I wouldn't say we're like a huge brand yet. I'd say we've got like a pretty good trajectory that we're on, but I think what sort of let us fast track this was all the marketing background that we had, right? Like we knew how to run Google ads and Facebook ads and do SEO and run YouTube ads and write copy and build landing pages and collect emails and do email newsletters. And that was the background that we had. And I think there's not a lot of people doing that in the Web3 space, and definitely not a lot of people doing it in the Web3 gaming space specifically. So bringing the skill set that we had from this digital marketing space over into this Web3 space, I believe has allowed us to kind of like really up level really quickly. Like the ladder, we jumped a couple rungs on the ladder because of that marketing background. So I really think Hustle and Flowchart is going to be a lot of that crossover of like, here's what we're doing from a marketing standpoint, but in the Web3 space. And so I'm excited to really talk about a lot of that, because what you just mentioned was how we've gotten really kind of connected, and we've had so many great calls, and we've had meetings with really, really amazing people. That all stems from what we were doing over at Hustle and Flowchart initially with our marketing strategy of let's have a podcast. The podcast lets us connect with people, and the bigger name people we can connect with, it kind of becomes this snowball effect. We connect with bigger and bigger people, right? And we just took those same philosophies that we were growing Hustle and Flowchart on and went, let's just apply this to hard fork gaming in a community that we, this isn't the right wording, and it's probably not going to be great to some of the older people, but I love the Web3 audience a lot more than I love the marketing, not audience. I love the Web3 world more than I like the marketing world. The sort of community feel. It's less ego driven, less competitive, and more, we're all going to make it, right? That's kind of what
collaborative. Yeah, 100%. It's collaboration, and we chat with the people that might have, they receive tens of millions of dollars from an investment or multiple investors. And then you have people that are just starting out as a KOL or a creator in this space, a key opinion leader. That's what the other one is, KOL, if you're curious. One of them acronyms. But like everyone has this idea of collaborating. If I feel like it's a good way to suss people out in this space. If they're actually here for the long term, they're going to see the power of collaboration. Most people, not everyone, obviously, but that's how we work. And we're just seeing with the community here at Hard Fork, we're attracting a certain type of person. And a lot of folks started at Hustle and Flowchart. A lot of people started over there with Buffalo at Lad City. And and there's crossover. Like we got Hash Rhymes here. You got Spike. It's a KOL of his own. You got folks, founders I know that follow us on the podcast and beyond. A lot of investors. So the more that we can be transparent about what we're learning, how we're getting, spreading the word of what we're doing in this space. Because marketing is a little different. There's different, like Discords don't come up too often in the Web 2 world. Maybe in gaming, but not really in the business entrepreneurial space. You're on like Slack and whatever else, Facebook. And we haven't logged on Facebook. Basecamp. 32 signals. Yeah. But there's obviously a lot of crossover too. I think it's going to be fun sharing this kind of stuff. And Matt, maybe let's transition now to what we're actually doing with content, because we're content marketers originally. You've been we've had. When did we start our podcast originally? What was the year?
So Hustle and Flowchart was in 2017. Our first podcast was called the Online Income Podcast, and we did that in 2010.
There you go. So
Yeah.
2010, I always forget the dates, but like that's insanity. And that's, I don't know. So content marketing, we've been doing that forever. And I feel like we've been sharing in this kind of way forever, but now with a cool audience and can have people to help spread the word even further and collaborate like in the Web3 sense. But yeah, like content podcasting, I think this is like always been the heart. This was like the first core thing that we had as hard for a little while. But like creating content, a lot of different content for YouTube. Been all over that, YouTube, Twitter. LFG Live is a 2-time a week thing now. So it's live streaming. We're getting live streaming in with the recorded stuff that it's all kind of new right now. So we're experimenting with a lot. But maybe you could break down the content like flow, how we capture and how it's kind of spread around if we want to show that off a bit.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we're trying to do here is we're trying to build out this like big content network, like kind of imagine like the ESPN of gaming, right? We used to say ESPN of Web3 gaming, but we're kind of expanding it to like, we just want to talk about gaming because we want people to play fun games. We want to play fun games. But then, in the future, they're all going to have blockchain attached anyway, and nobody's going to call them Web3 games. It's just going to be gaming. So, we want to build content in the community, in the gaming, and we want it to be kind of like this ESPN where we're doing tournaments. We have a whole bunch of shows. It's not just Matt, Joe, and Crypto Buffalo. It's all sorts of creators who want to build on the network and have their own shows. That's where we're trying to get to. But as of right now, it is just kind of the three of us putting out content. So the way the content is scheduled right now is every other Thursday we do LFG Lives. That's our kind of big, highly produced show. We pretty much spend 2 weeks getting that show prepped all the way up till the day we go live. We're recording skits. We're lining up interviews with people. We're collecting alpha. We're putting together little mini videos. We're grabbing trailers. We're getting people to donate NFTs so we can give them away on the show. Like it is a heroic effort we put in to get one of these LFG Lives ready every other week. Hence why they're every other week right now. And then every Tuesday we're going to do Hustle and Flowchart Live. And then on the opposing Thursdays, so not the Thursdays we're doing LFG Lives, but the opposite Thursdays, Buff's going to do Hard Fork Radio. That might move around. That might be Fridays in the future. But for right now, they're going to be on the opposite Thursdays of the Hustle of the LFG Lives, right? So that's kind of the core pieces of content that we're creating is the 3 live shows. Then what we're doing with that content is we're chopping it up. Because we're kind of producing these shows now in segments, it makes it a lot easier for us to take a segment from LFG Live that's like a little 10-minute video and put that on YouTube as a standalone video, right? So we've got our interviews, we've got our trailers and our commentary on the trailers. We do little pieces about alpha where we explain some alpha that's out there. That can be its own clip. So now we've got the 3 core pieces of longer form content that all break down into, little 10-minute clips of content. Even this Hustle and Flowchart Live that we're doing right now, you're hearing the audio on, Discord, Twitter Spaces, or, through the podcast recording. But Joe and I are actually looking at each other. The video's recording. We're capturing video. That way, if there's a really funny moment to come out of this, Mr. Bear runs in and yanks Joe's shirt off, and then Joe's sitting here like, covering his nipples and stuff. We have that on video so that I can post that clip on YouTube if I wanted, right? So pretty much everything we're doing is set up for creating content. Even when Joe and Buff are getting on like meetings with people now, they'll go and schedule a meeting with like a game company and they'll get on that meeting inside of a tool that they can record. That way, if they're in the middle of the meeting and it's flowing really well, they can say, hey, can I hit record on this real quick? This is a really, really killer conversation and I want to capture this for my community. We're even set up now where when they're just getting on business meetings, they're set up so they can record if they want to.
I'll talk about that for a second too, because that goes into the power of what this podcast has done for not only Matt and I, but just for Hard Fork in general is, so for years, since the time we've had Hustle and Flowchart, the podcast for 5 years, Matt and I realized the power of podcasting and the fact that when you have someone on a podcast with you, especially on video, you're literally looking at each other and smiling at each other for like 45 minutes or something. And you're having a good time. You're just having a chat like you're having a beer or coffee with someone right in front of you there as Matt sips his coffee. Coffee to you too, sir. Top of the, oh damn, he's rocking his Hard Fork gaming. He's just being fancy. So the whole thing is we realized when we do a podcast throughout that whole course of the hour, let's call it, you're growing a relationship with the person, whoever it is, no matter what the topic is. You're having an exchange of it's like what Joe Rogan's always talking about. It's like, it takes time to kind of break someone down and maybe like the defenses go down a little bit, but after like an hour, you're kind of buddies because you share a lot of ideas for that last hour, and inherently you kind of want to extend the conversation after that. So, that could lead to deals or collaboration, partnerships, shouting each other out on Twitter or social, doing some YouTube content or streams together. We've done it all. And that's exactly what we've done in this Web3 space is And it's not a hack or anything. It's literally connecting in the way that we know how to connect and also capturing it in a way. Like what Matt said, like we're actually using the tool we're using is one that Crypto Buffalo basically converted us to. We got PCs and everything because of this, is vMix. And this is like a professional TV broadcasting switching device. It's super complicated, and I don't know half of it still. Matt knows a little bit more than I do, a lot more probably. But the point is, we can do so much. We can stream, we can record, we can do podcasts, we can do this that we're doing where you're not really seeing the video yet, but you might. Yeah, so we can monitor each other and our monitors, and it's insane like what we've been able to pull off. But like, so we figure if we can capture someone on a podcast or in an interview, like going back to what you said about capturing, meetings, but then also asking like, hey, do you mind if we record a little bit here? Like they're probably more willing to do that, and you're kind of getting them in a cool conversation, relaxed state anyway. So I think, going out to anybody who wants to connect to create content, it's pretty ninja way. It's kind of nice, and it helps everybody too. You're giving value to them because you're going to help spread the word, however that is, if you got a platform. So that's what we're doing with this format of recording.
And then there's another element to our content too that I forgot to mention is that once a week we're actually going to be releasing a longer form interview that we've partnered with Blockchain Space on. So we're doing a series called Blockchain Conversations. I did mention it earlier in the conversation, but it hasn't come up in this context yet. So every week we're going to be dropping a new video in our Blockchain Conversation series, which is sponsored by Blockchain Space. So 1 week it's going to be on the Hustle and Flowchart channel, or the Hard Fork Gaming channel, sorry. 1 week it's going to be on the Hard Fork Gaming channel. The next week it's going to be on Blockchain Space's channel. And so it's going to alternate between our channel and their channel. And we're going to release those longer form interviews. And then those interviews are also content that we can clip up, take shorter clips, put on our YouTube channel, put on our Twitter, put on our TikTok, put on our Instagram Reels, put on our LinkedIn's, put on our MySpaces, put on our OnlyFans.
Well, definitely OnlyFans. I was hoping you weren't going to miss that one because we got to shout out Matt's OnlyFans. It's new, but he's taking requests. So
yeah. Joe's is OnlyFans / hairy feet pics.
Why would you say that, Matt? Why would you say that?
Don't go look it up. That's not true.
It's not going to be me.
But I'm sure that exists.
Someone's into it. So yeah, I mean, that's like a high level of everything we're doing with content. And then I don't know, with the marketing, I know a lot of things, being the marketers that we are, it's all that post-production stuff is so important. And a lot of creators just don't really think, or maybe there's not a plan for the evergreen side of content because like we're just constantly optimizing content after it's published. If it's on YouTube, we're changing out thumbnails. We're using, and this is definitely not a sponsored thing, but I have a Tube Buddy coffee cup that they sent us. But we use Tube Buddy on YouTube for the app that helps us optimize like everything.
Yep.
And so we're doing like headlines and stuff, but it all works. And we're doing everything we can as like growth hackers and marketers, digital marketers with content after the fact. So that's why we're doing this like aggressive repurposing play.
Yeah, and another element too is we've started up the Hard Fork Gaming newsletter as well. Originally, I was pushing it out on Wednesdays and sharing all of the content that had come out in the prior week. But now we're actually going to start releasing it every Monday. This week I released it Monday, which, if you're watching this live, was yesterday. So what the Hard Fork newsletter is we're going to share, here's all the events that are coming up, so you don't have to keep up with our schedule of when LFG Live and Hustle and Flowchart and all that comes out. We're going to share that with you, so you're kind of always in the loop with that. But we're also going to drop some alpha in there. If there's like cool airdrops that you can get in on, or a whitelist that Hard Fork Alpha Club members are getting access to, you're going to find out about those in the newsletter. Or, if we're airdropping an NFT, which we've airdropped hundreds of NFTs to community Alpha Club members already, literally hundreds of NFTs to people. So we're going to be doing that kind of stuff. So it's a newsletter you're going to want to pay attention to, but that's also part of the marketing strategy. That's something that we haven't seen a lot of people in the Web3 space doing, is actually having newsletters. And, we're not collecting names. We're not trying to like dox anybody that doesn't want to be doxed. We just want the information so we can send you free NFTs.
Literally,
right?
That's it. Because a lot of games and all these, like, if we're getting airdrops with all these, they're usually going to want your email or sign up for an account and whatever wallet address you got. And there's like all these chains. So don't be intimidated by the amount of things that we might ask you. It's going to benefit you at the end of the day. Let's be honest. Let's go back to being the bridge, like really the ethos of when we did this whole change, this hard fork of our podcast originally, as I was getting distracted by your coffee mug again. That's why I said hard fork. But it's so good. Product placement right there. Hustle and Flowchart, like when we pivoted to Web3 primarily, and obviously we're still going to talk about whatever, in the creator and marketing space when it applies, is the fact that we want to be the bridge. We want to take folks who might be interested in the Web3 space and are early adopters. Maybe they're casual gamers. Maybe you like to dabble with that, or you felt like you've gamed back in the day, but now you got kids, you got a professional life, you have all this stuff that I'm realizing that most of our audience has, or a lot of folks that we've connected with, including ourselves, are similar. Is essentially be the bridge and show how you can still somehow get involved in this Web3 space, because like you said, Matt, like there's games and all that, but there's also these airdrop opportunities. If you maybe do a couple actions like share this tweet, join this Discord, and join this email list, like we have one that there's some alpha, some links inside of our Discord that'll actually give you a free NFT, and then you can start playing a game right away.
Two of them, actually. There's two airdrops in there that if you're an Alpha Club member, you'll have access to the resources section in there. Inside of the LFG Live links, there's actually two links to two airdrops that you can get in on right now that we dropped on our LFG Live last week.
Yeah, I mean, airdrops they're happening all the time, and that's where the Alpha Scouts are just obviously amazing, because they're bringing stuff like that to us. So go to the Discord if you are not in there. Definitely join hardfork.gg/alpha, and that will get you signed up to the email list. But to get to our Discord straight up is hardfork.gg/discord, and you'll get to the links that Matt was talking about on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, Matt.
Well, if anybody, I mean, if you want to interact at all, jump into the Alpha Scouts community. If you have any sort of questions, any topics you want to bring up, anything you want to chat about, we do want to make these shows more interactive. We kind of assumed this first one wouldn't be, a huge turnout. This is our first one. We kind of didn't really promote it. We just kind of jumped on and started recording last minute. So we weren't expecting a massive turnout and a ton of questions. But if you do have them and you want to ask them, throw them into the chat. Or if you have like a comment you want to make, or you want us to shout out like happy birthday to your mom or something, like, just throw it in the chat. We'll figure it out. What are some of the other stuff that we've been really focused on at Hard Fork? So, we've been like, our days are really set up around just cranking out as much content as we can. Just record. We throw it all into DaVinci Resolve. Now I'm kind of getting into the weeds, but we use DaVinci Resolve to do all our edits. It's a free video editing tool. Highly recommended. I love it. But yeah, I mean, like our business model is fairly simple, right? Like we're hanging out, cranking out content, creating, like planning out our LFG lives each week, planning out what we want to talk about on Hustle and Flowcharts, and just putting our heads down and recording. And a lot of what we're doing is making these pre-recorded skits for the LFG Live, and making tutorial videos into how to onboard into one of these games that we're talking about, lining up interviews with people for our blockchain conversation series. Like that's what our day-to-day really kind of looks like.
It's our day-to-day is content everything, and how to get that content out in the best way that's going to give value to everyone, and honestly just further this space in the building space, right now in this bear market. Anything we could do to just show, hey, here's cool stuff that you can get involved in. I think that's like the biggest piece, because there's so many things, and the more content we get out, and that's where the more meetings we have, the more alpha we get, the more alpha scouts that we have chats with and start to create a relationship with, then we can start trusting, certain, obviously the whole thing is like going through the Discord. We kind of purposely I guess it's tiered in a way, or whatever we want to call it, but that's just showing us like what you're willing to want to get involved in. Yeah. And that's where joining the Discord and getting on that alpha list is really going to help, because you'll be able to see to your, however far you want to go with all of this. You can get super involved and hop on the team like Jake, doing the community management stuff and beyond. And, I'm sure that will keep progressing, or you could just be, in the general tab and not really do much, but just observe. Mm-hmm. But I'd recommend bumping it up a little bit to the Alpha Club or something like that. That's where
there's even other levels that we can use help with too. There's the Hard Fork. The bigger picture here, like I mentioned, is we are trying to build this into a media brand. We are trying to have other KOLs on the show, and produce their own shows on the network. Have other people doing live audio shows, live video shows, pre-recorded video shows. We do want to get other people on the network, and in order to grow, we need a lot of help. And if you can help in any of the areas that we need help in, that we'd love to chat with you. We really need some help in things like podcast editing, right? We're doing more and more audio content. So anybody that wants to help edit audio podcasts, we would love help with that. We need help with video editing. We do a lot of these live streams. We need somebody to help us jump into these recordings after the live streams are over and find little 5-7 minute clips that are really good clips and pull them out and put them on our Twitter and our YouTube channel. We're always looking for more alpha scouts who want to help us drum up alpha that we can share on some of these shows. So that's all really, really, really helpful stuff that we can use. And if you have those skills, we'd love to chat with you and bring you in as a deeper part of the Hard Fork crew here, and we'll all grow together, right? Like we're trying to build something bigger than ourselves, where we can all like really grow into this together and work together on it and grow something huge and really spread the word of Web3 gaming and get the message out.
I dig it, my man. Well, sweet. I think we covered everything and more that what we had listed here. And
I got one thing.
What else you got?
I got some alpha.
Drop it, man. Drop it like it's hot. Come on, what you got?
Synergy Land. Synergyland, the token
True
generation event is this month. I believe it's actually tomorrow, but I don't want to say for sure it's tomorrow in case I'm wrong. But the token generation event where the Synergyland token is being released, it's being released at 19 cents, I believe. That's a game that we are early seed investors on, but we're also super excited about it. That's why we got early seed investor on it. The game, it was supposed to, I think tomorrow it was supposed to be publicly playable, but they actually just said, you know what? Let's just open it up to everybody a few days early. So you can actually get in and play Synergyland right now, check the game out and play it. And then tomorrow, I believe, don't quote me, I believe the 20th is the token generation event where you can actually go buy Synergyland tokens. I don't remember what the tokens are actually called, but
I forget too. But definitely the alpha, or it's called the pre-alpha demo. So if you go to synergyland.live, Live, that'll get you to a download link. I think you need a PC. So sorry, Mac lovers. I am one of those as well. I'm also a PC lover. I'm just a lover. What do you
just
say?
a computer lover.
Computer lover.
He loves all of his computers.
At times.
He
and then
really
I hate
loves
them
his
too.
computers at times too.
Hey now.
Oh, sorry, too far.
Go to synergyland.live and go check it out. And that demo, it's kind of like what it's compared to like Diablo and some of these kind of overhead kind of games, but the graphics on this thing, the team behind them, they're all AAA from legit game studios, from Web2 traditional gaming studios. And yeah, the token, I'm trying to find confirmation of that token event.
I think Spike just gave the game three forks up.
3 forks up. All right. That works. I dig it.
I don't know how many forks that's out of, but
That's true.
it could be
Well,
out of
it's,
10 forks, then it's a really bad game. It could be out of 3 forks, then it's a really, really good game.
There you go. Yeah, it could be. Well, it looks like it's trending on Fractal's game, Synergyland's #1, above EV.io, which is another game that we like to play, first-person shooter. And we've had some cool giveaways with them, so shout out to EV.io. They're doing cool stuff because they come from a content or an advertising kind of background in the traditional space. We'll break down models like that because that's a cool business model, but I'm going to wrap that up there because there's a lot of cool stuff.
Cool. Spike said he was just trying out the HFG emote, not ranking
yeah?
Synergyland, so I give it 3 forks up out of 3.
Okay, perfect. Samesies. Well, Mr. Matt, I think what other alpha? Synergyland's a great one. I mean, the alpha is going to live in our Discord. Let's be honest.
Yeah, check out the links from our LFG Live because we dropped a lot of
Yeah.
alpha. There's some airdrops from, I think it was Unlocked, and there was an airdrop from, there was another game. It was like a motorcycle game or something.
It's a racing game, a car racing game, but I don't remember the name.
Yeah, you
It's
just got to get in the Discord, make sure you're in the Alpha Club, and it'll be in the LFG Live links, and you can get a
right.
free NFT out of that one. So make sure you do
Rally
that.
race car. Yes.
This Hustle and Flowchart Live is probably a little bit shorter than normal. This was meant to be kind of our first test run to try it out. So hopefully they get more and more polished from here. Thanks for bearing with us as we kind of figure out the tech. We spent the first 7 minutes while actually going live trying to figure out how to solve some audio issues. So people hung around with us real live behind the scenes as we couldn't figure out how to get my audio working and finally figured it out. So you got some real live behind the scenes stuff, but we will get more and more polished with these live ones. So hopefully you keep coming back for more, and we're going to share cooler and cooler stuff behind the scenes. At
All right.
Share more alpha and yeah, good stuff.
And shout out to everybody who's been watching and listening. And well, let's wrap up the potty pod then. So and that's what we're going to call it now, the potty pod.
The potty pod.
The potty pod. So Hustle and Flowchart. Check us out. Every Tuesdays, we're going to do this live stream thing, and you might find us definitely on Discord, but on Twitter, ideally. And then also Wednesday, Matt, you're saying that's when the release is coming out, or the podcast recording.
That should be, yep.
That should be, yep. And then, and then check out LFG Live. We talked about that's every 2 weeks. And the next one, I probably should have my calendar straight up here, but definitely every 2 weeks you want to be on there. Next one is on the 28th of July. So catch us there on YouTube and on the Discords too.
Yep.
Been real. Thank you very much. And we'll do this again next week. Hey.
Let's do it.
There we go. That's the sound where, wait, it stopped. Wow, so professional.
So professional.
All right. Thank you very much for listening. Remember to go subscribe, rate the show on the good old Hustle and Flowchart, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to. Appreciate you listening. It's been fun. We'll do it again.